Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, April the 8th. Hey, real quick reminder and an announcement. We are less than 1 month away from Bucks Island Fish Fest, May 6th at the dealership right there in Southside, Alabama. We're going to have all our pro staff and some other elite pros, still guys to be named, vendors, all those kinds of things. But stay tuned right now for the Bucks Island area fishing report. We're going to have Tracy Robinson filling in for Tom, who's on business travel. Of course, Lee, Josh, and Gentry are going to kick in their stuff on their lakes. Be right back with what the guys have to say. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, April the 8th. Hey, we're joined by a guest commentator today to cover Guntersville for Tom Mott. Tracy Robinson, who is one heck of a Guntersville stick, going to share what's happening on Guntersville right now. Tracy?
Well, I'll give you my update. It's awful hard to follow Big Fish Tom Mott, but anyway, Guntersville, a lot going on there as far as techniques. The fish at Guntersville, man, you've got fish that spawned 2 months ago. You got fish that spawned last month. We're hitting a full moon right now. There's new fish up there. So those old fish, being the ones that were spawned a couple 2 weeks ago, they've already moved out. I'm not telling you can catch them on the summertime ledges, but they're sitting there staring at those deeper areas right now. They've done their fry guarding. You can still kind of catch those in between fish on buzz baits, top water, frogs up there guarding their fry, even docks. I'm not a big dock fisherman, but first thing those fish are doing right now, they'll go to the nearest piece of structure and guard their fry for a few days. So you can get bit on some wacky worm, Cincos, and stuff like that around some docks too, if you like doing that kind of stuff. And then, you've got those fish that are up there right now. You can visually do some sight fishing right now. So got some rough weather coming in this weekend. It might make it tough, but, soft plastics. I like little creature baits, pegged. Just put it in the bed, aggravate them. You can get bit on some of those fish sight fishing. And again, there's fish kind of coming and going right now. So that intermediate stuff, fishing those channel swings and stuff where those fish are traveling to and from the spawning back to the summer stuff. There's a lot of different opportunities there, from anywhere from dragging a Carolina rig to sight fishing.
So they haven't really gone on their summer patterns yet. How are somebody going to catch some of those post-spawn fish? Is it just it kind of happens?
Electronics plays a big role in that. Those fish, that they've done their spawn thing and they're somewhere between bank in the lake. You can kind of get on those creek edges and some scanning. You can start seeing some fish start to gather up a little bit. You're not going to see those big 15 to 20 fish schools yet, but you can see 5 to 10 fish on some of these little places. And I like to drag a jig, Carolina rig, crankbait, swim bait around those fish that I'm seeing on the electronics on those fish that are starting that transition.
Well, of course, it's the time of the year for you to be able to start getting into some of those causeways around bridge pilings and some of those things if you're a crappie angler, maybe even some of those ends of those docks. And I'm sure you're hearing people doing that stuff too.
I am, and I saw some really big pictures this week. I saw Mike Carter posted some really big crappie up there. I know he's focusing on kind of the ditch mouths on up the lake. So those big slabs are eating right now. There's a lot of pictures out there.
Well, Tracy, as always, man, we appreciate your help filling in. Go have a good weekend, and I know you got some stuff going on. You're going to put some fish in the boat yourself. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, April the 8th, Coosa River Team Trail Day up there at Neely Henry. But we're going to talk a little Logan Martin and Lay Lake with Josh Herron as we do each week. Josh, what's happening down there on that section of the Coosa River?
Man, fishing's getting better. Dogwoods are blooming. Marvin Gaye's in the air. It's getting better. We just need a week of stable weather. It seems like every time we get really close, we get a big push of water, and we're getting it again. But it's getting better. You can catch a lot of fish running around right now, throwing a wacky rig, throwing little swim baits around the bank. You got a lot of cruisers up right now, and man, they're getting ready to make us some more Coosa River babies.
That's always a good thing every time we see that. So, are you looking pockets, docks, rocks, laydowns? What's the best focus right now?
You're looking for these big flat pockets. Generally, the ones that are going to get your early morning sun, blocked from the north wind. That's going to be like your traditional go look for them pretty quick and often places. You'll have a couple of these fish that'll spawn out closer to the river, but I mean predominantly you're going to have most of them are going to be halfway back in these big flat pockets. And man, you really can't look shallow enough when they go, especially at Logan Martin. These some of these big flat pockets that have They in the back of the pockets, it'll almost look like a black bottom. It's where just muck
Yeah.
and junk have settled out over the winter, and that's a really predominant place these fish spawn, especially at Logan.
Is that because of the warming effect of that black bottom, and then they kind of brush it out to get to the hard bottom for spawning?
A little bit, man. More than anything, I think it just gives them a sense of security because it's wild how shallow they can get on that black bottom, and you not be able to see them until they brush your bed out. Their backs kind of blend in on that bottom, and they could sit up there, especially in like little shady areas on that dark bottom, and they just disappear. So it's a really unique deal that you can do this time of year. Lay's a little bit harder to bedfish on because fish at lay traditionally like to get on the backside of the grass to do it. So they're a little bit harder to see. You've really got to get on top of them outside of like the bottom end of the lake where you can get some of that sandier bottom. But you can still do the same thing. You can
Okay.
run around, throw a wacky rig, a trick worm, little swim baits, stuff like that to kind of pull fish up, and they'll show you where they're at.
Well, man, as always, we appreciate everything, Josh. The expertise on those lakes is wonderful, man. We'll talk to you again next week, brother.
See you, man.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, April the 8th. Time for us to join up with Gentry Gordy, who's going to talk Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Gentry, I know things have progressed probably a little quicker down there than they have even up here, but it's that time, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's we got this full moon coming. We got this warming trend. It's I think it's really fixing to, it's fixing to get a lot better. Had a little taste of it back a couple weeks ago. Then the cold fronts come in. The water's muddied up, but it's fixing to get there.
So, which one of the two right now is probably the most ahead of itself? Is it Jordan?
Yeah, because, and I only say that because Martin has just been, the water came up too fast. It muddied up. Martin's had a lot of unstable, not more unstable than Jordan. It's just Martin's not used to having, that drastic of a change like the Coosa River is. But I would say Jordan's a little bit ahead of Martin. But I tell you, if this water will clear up a little bit at Martin with this full moon and this warming trend, Martin's going to be fun. I got a tournament up there Saturday, and of course it's going to be high 57, wind blowing and raining. But that's all right. At Martin, that's not bad. You could get right with a spinner bait and a chatter bait, something like that. In a windy blown pocket where the shad's already in there, the fish have already pushed back. Something like that could be fun, even with that wind blowing.
All right. So, what's the approach at Jordan? What do you want to do?
Jordan, your two big lakes over there, like the new lake, and those are your flatter areas. Jordan's deep. Jordan's got a lot of deep water in it. Even a lot of the pockets have got some depth in it, but there's still some that's normal. Your shallower pockets. You want to look for those mid pocket back. That's what I'm looking for. Next to a blowdown, next to a dock. The grass. They'll be right around in there, but they'll be there. And I don't know if the waters. The waters, well, they ought to be used to it. It ain't been clearing forever, but they're up there. If they're not up there, they will be. They will be very soon.
So, is it a hunker down in pockets, or you're going to have to move a lot? What do you think it is?
I'm going to run. I'm going to get in the decent sized pockets that are a little bit shallower, and I'm just going to start. 3/4 of the way back and go to the very back. That's what I'm going to look for. Small Texas rig, just as simple as a little Texas rig lizard, a brush hog, something like that. And just pitch it around. Even if the water's stained, if you can get on top of them, they'll let you know if they're there.
Well, brother, we appreciate everything as always, and we look forward to again talking to you next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, April the 8th. We're joined by Lee Pitts, who's right in the middle of the crappie action on Weiss Lake. Lee, let's start there. Tell me about all that hot crappie action you got going on.
Well, things are picking up a little bit. It's we've had some rough days this last week. Had a lot of wind issues, but the sun's popped out, and we're starting to catch a few fish right now. So that's a good thing here on Weiss. It's some of the fish that we had been dragging double 16s and even some double 8s out there on them in the deep troughs. They're starting to move up shallow. So we're getting in the backs of these bays. This week, hot colors, blue chartreuse, black chartreuse, anything with chartreuse, pretty much catching right now. So things are looking a little better up here at Weiss.
Are you using a natural or a bright color head on those things?
Everybody laughs at me, but a pink. I've been using a pink and an orange head, and that seems to help a little bit. I think it's that little bit of stain is helping these fish see it a little bit better, and maybe putting a little flash off to it. So that's been one of the things. I swap my head colors up a lot. Some people, when they're really biting, it might not matter, but here lately it's been a little finicky, so I got to play a little bit with the colors.
We know the bass bite's good because Ethan Martin and Dalton Mize, some Bucks Island Loft pro staffers, they won the poor folks with 22 pounds, and I think it was 22.38 on buzzbaits up there at Weiss last week, and the rest of the field was strong too. So we know the bass bite's pretty good on Weiss.
Yeah, it's been good, and like I said, everybody I talked to, I'm out here pulling today, and I'm seeing some guys they're bass fishing, and we watched them rear back on a couple. So the crappie and the bass are good. It's just like the sun's out, life is good. Let's catch them.
And we know that the bass bite on Neely Henry's picking up. Wes Logan and his dad won the city tournament down there with 20.57, and Tracy Robinson and Dustin, they did well. Top three were all over 20 pounds. What are you hearing out of Neely for this week at the Coosa River Team Trail?
Neely has just really been good the last 3 weeks. It's staying strong right now. I can't say enough about Neely Henry. The bass bite is really doing good. Crappie bite's good down there too. A lot of the bays are holding a lot of crappie still offshore, but the bass have got super shallow. And hey, Wes and his dad, man, congratulations! What a bag of fish. And Tracy and like I said, it's one of those deals where, when you're looking at that kind of crowd and it's still taking 16 pounds to get a paycheck, man, that says a lot for Neely Henry. I think most of the guys call them shallow, and even for the crappie on Neely right now, catching a bunch of numbers down there. And so, thank goodness, hopefully we've had the last of our weather issues, and now we get back to catching fish.
Well, Lee, as always, man, we have fun. Appreciate it. Go catch some more of them crappie with your clients.
All right, man, we got 2 on right now, so let me go. See you.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, April the 8th. Thanks to all of you for spending the time with us that you do every week. We appreciate hearing from you. We hope that these guys are helping you put a few more fish in the boat. And as always, you are the best part of Bucks Island. We appreciate you, whether it's parts, tackle, service, or you're looking for that new boat. We're here to help you because you are the best part of our dealership. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you again next week.